Imagine MotoGP bikes roaring through city streets, weaving between buildings at breakneck speeds. Sounds thrilling, right? But is it really feasible? The recent takeover of MotoGP by Liberty Media, the same company behind Formula One, has sparked intense speculation about the future direction of the motorcycle racing series. Specifically, could we see MotoGP joining the ranks of F1 and racing on street circuits? While only a handful of tracks currently accommodate both MotoGP and F1, think Austin, Lusail, Silverstone, Spielberg, and Barcelona, the idea of adding street circuits to the MotoGP calendar is now officially on the table. MotoGP also frequents Jerez, Mugello, Sepang, and Portimao, all former F1 venues. But here's where it gets controversial. The inherent dangers of motorcycle racing make the prospect of street circuits a difficult one to swallow. The margin for error is significantly smaller, and the consequences of a crash at high speed can be devastating. However, according to the race, Dorna is indeed considering this possibility. One immediate concern is the future of the Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island. This iconic circuit, which has hosted the race 28 times since 1989, is entering the final year of its contract. But securing an extension is proving tricky. Phillip Island faces several hurdles. Its remote location leads to what's been described as traffic chaos and some of the season's most expensive accommodation, impacting attendance figures. In fact, this year's race reportedly drew fewer fans than all but two events, Qatar and Hungary. Many fans seem more inclined to opt for more budget-friendly trips to the Indonesian or Malaysian Grands Prix. Dorna and the Australian Grand Prix Corporation, AGPC, have been actively exploring alternative venues for some time. This is where Albert Park, the long-standing home of the Australian F1 race in Melbourne, enters the picture. The AGPC has reportedly engaged in discussions with Dorna to assess the possibility of hosting both sports at the circuit, especially with a substantial £200 million investment earmarked for facility upgrades. And this is the part most people miss. The biggest challenge lies in ensuring adequate runoff areas for MotoGP riders. Unlike F1 cars, motorcycles require significantly more space to safely recover from a high-speed incident. Achieving this at Albert Park would likely necessitate the removal of a significant number of trees, a move that would undoubtedly trigger a fierce backlash from local environmental groups. A more viable, albeit long-term, solution involves constructing a brand new track near Victoria's Avalon Airport. However, this project is still in its early stages, with consultations underway. The risk is that if Phillip Island fails to secure a new deal and the Avalon circuit isn't ready in time, the Australian Grand Prix could vanish from the MotoGP calendar for several years. A short-term extension for Phillip Island might be the most sensible approach, given the importance of the Australian market to MotoGP. While street circuits are becoming increasingly integral to F1's brand and appeal, this might be one area where Liberty Media can't, or shouldn't, try to force a uniform approach. Liberty's ambitions for MotoGP may extend to increasing the race calendar to 25 events, a move that could potentially lead to Moto2 and Moto3 races being dropped from some weekends. KTM's Pit Beirer has even proposed the idea of joint MotoGP and F1 race weekends, a concept that has been discussed within the paddock but hasn't gained any official traction. Furthermore, Liberty could introduce a cost cap, mirroring the successful F1 model. KTM is a vocal advocate for this change, while Honda has expressed reservations. Among fans, a cost cap would likely be a less controversial change, potentially improving the financial stability of MotoGP teams. Ultimately, the question remains, how far will Liberty Media go in transforming MotoGP to align with the F1 model? Is a MotoGP street race a thrilling possibility or a dangerous pipe dream? And would a cost cap truly level the playing field, or would it stifle innovation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.